What's up, party people? I'm
What's
Ethan. This is Jara, and we got a special guest. What's your name?
Yo, Levi.
This is Levi. So today's gonna be a super casual episode. You know, Levi's like a local here and everything, local church and everything.
Not really local. I'm from India.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not really. I was born in Perth. Perth boy.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am. My name's Levi. And I currently go to Centrepoint Church. So I'm the new Singleton Youth Director. We don't really do pastors because I'm not credentialed. But what's something cool about me? I don't know. I've been in Perth my whole life, even though I don't look like it. My mum's white. So that's an interesting fact about me.
Validate that.
And I started a clothing brand with her last year on my 19th birthday. So
good.
It's been really cool. Journeying with her. Working with your family is a new experience for me, but it's been lots of fun. And we've been able to grow heaps. So a little bit about myself.
Very cool. Wait, Ethan, how do you know Levi? How did you meet him?
When was the first time I met you? Okay, I think I heard about you during high school, and then I think I was invited to your ball at your high school, and then I finally met Levi and like all his mates and everything, and then pretty much that's it. And then we got connected again. Yeah, it was last year. It was last year because he made his clothing brand and we're doing the podcast, and I was like, it'd be super sick to have him on.
Let's link up.
Yeah, because Christians gotta stick together and everything, especially entering the creative industry or whatever, and that.
Yeah, I remember when we caught up for breakfast and we were like sitting down and we were talking about like our interests, our age. I was like, this guy's like the exact same as me. We were like studying the same degree, the same age. I was like, man, we could be in rush hour, bro. Yeah. Like, the same thing. I was like, this is so cool. So I think after we bonded, I was like, man, so keen to come on the podcast. And I'm so grateful to be here as well.
Appreciate it, man. But so about the brand, tell us a little bit. Just a little bit about it. How did it start? Like, what's the vision?
It's kind of funny because like before I started the brand, like I would be like the least fashionable person, like you would know. Like I was like your typical Indian, like track pants and like thongs and like I don't know. I wasn't ever interested in fashion. I don't know. Like if I was to tell myself 2 years ago, "Oh, you're gonna start like a fashion label," I'd have been like, "Are you sure?" Like I was like the least qualified or whatever. But it happened like on a 12-hour shift. I was working like in this Apple factory, like the most boring job you could ever like imagine. And I'm still studying business, and I felt God challenged me in that area of my life to kind of surrender and honor him in it. And so I was already honoring him in church, serving. But with my uni and with business, I'd kind of separated God from that, and I'd kept God into the confines of, he's just like a church thing or a Sunday thing. And so he's like, no, I actually want you to pursue this business. And within that 12-hour shift, because it was 6 to 6, like crazy hours, he'd given me like the whole blueprint of like how I would outwork it, and then partnering with mum. And so I brought it to mum the next day, and then we pretpretty much just started from there. Wow. So it's like, pretty wild story. Like I can't make that up. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I had no desire prior to start a clothing brand. So it's really cool. Yeah.
You just got to work at an Apple factory, I guess.
Yeah, come on. Come on. Boredom does some crazy things, man.
That's insane. So did you get the name during that?
Yeah.
Oh, so everything.
We got the name Exitus, but the issue was it was already taken. So someone already had like an Exitus clothing. And so like within like the first week, I was like, oh yeah. Like I nearly already gave up. I was like, the name's taken. Like it must not be from God. Like it must not be legit. But then talking to mum about it, and I kept feeling on my heart to keep pursuing it, keep going after it. And so then my mum kind of changed the way we write Exitus. So if you know, like it's spelled EXITUS rather than the traditional Exitus. And then she kind of created this logo and this meaning behind it about how it like represents Christ delivering us from evil and like under the cross. And that's why we always have the X even on like the back of the shirts and stuff. Christ exits us from our sin. He delivers us. And so Exodus being like the Israelites leaving Egypt, that whole link. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I brought mum on board, right? I was like, okay,
that's
sick.
Fire, man.
And so then, from there, that's how we've started. And we're always trying to keep that the center, right? That Christ exits us from our sin, that Christ is why we started this brand in the first place.
That's sick, man. And you,
awesome.
You got the shirt on and everything.
Come on.
So you should show it to the camera and everything.
The camera's over there.
I mean, it's a bit hard.
It's all right. We'll put
links and everything. So you've done one drop already.
Like we did the first drop, and it was just shirts, just starting out. I didn't want to go like too crazy. Plus like
Yeah,
money and stuff is
sure,
like takes a while. But yeah.
Yep. So how did that first drop go, man? Like,
Yeah,
how was
it was so surreal. Hey, like it went
Mm.
really, really well. We sold out in like the first 36 hours.
That's insane.
But I
Wow.
remember before launching, like you just have a lot of anxiety, like putting your product out there. You've put so much work, like no one will know how much work and like how much effort you've put in.
Yeah.
And so then I remember just like opening the website and then just turning my phone off.
Yeah.
And I was just like praying and I was like, you know what? I know you've called me to this. I know you've like put this on my heart. So I just trust you with it. And then like within the first like 10 minutes, we'd nearly like sold out 50% of the orders.
That's insane.
Like it just went crazy. And then
yeah.
I felt, it's in Proverbs, but I felt God really challenged me even with like the profit of that first drop to give the first fruits of all your increase.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was challenging again because like, yes, we've just made it and like we've finally broken even and we want to reinvest into the business. But I felt God put that on my heart and because it's the first drop, right? He's like, I want to see how your heart is with this first drop because that will set the tone for the rest of your business, right? As I allow it to grow, God allows it, God willing to grow. I want you to trust me now and then in future I'll be able to trust him more. He just wants to like check my heart. So.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Because for all that effort and everything, I was like, actually, I want that. Yeah, that's insane. 100%. I will say, saw a lot of church people wearing it. Like even my local church and everything, my dad's church and everything, everyone wearing the shirt.
Cool,
so
man.
the locals really came around and saw the hype, man. So it was sick. Yeah, that's crazy. So like, I guess what's kind of end goal for this? Just to open a brand and everything? Is there really?
Well, the end goal really would be so we're partnering with Compassion. So we partnered with Compassion the first drop and we were able to sponsor a small business in Compassion, which is like crazy. So they're able to like start making garments and like provide for their family.
Yep.
And so I think the end goal is the current goal, which is to advance his kingdom, right? With the clothing, we want it to be like biblically based, but also with the profits, we want to be like supporting small businesses in Compassion, spreading the gospel. And so, yeah, I would say that it would just be to scale, but not for the business sense, but in terms of impact. Like we just want to reach a new demographic. And like you said, a lot of the first drop were people from church, which is awesome. But the moment they go into their universities or the moment we start reaching non-saved people, this is a conversation starter for like the gospel to be preached. So
no, for sure.
100%, yeah.
That's true. So that for the people who don't know what Compassion is, you might kind of explain that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to butcher it because I feel like I won't do it justice, but it's a non-for-profit organization that operates in like third world countries and they basically bring kids out of poverty, help families. So there's lots of ways they do that, but one of them was through like sponsoring small businesses. And I felt like as a small business, how cool would it be to like kind of partner in that sort of sense?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the stuff they do is amazing and it's all biblically based, all like through their local churches and stuff. So it's like an amazing organization.
That's fire, man. That's freaking fire. So what have you kind of like discovered, like you're entering a whole different industry, like starting a clothing brand, like in Perth and everything, Christian brand as well. Like, what have you kind of like, was there any like obstacles or like new things?
So many.
Like, really enjoy doing?
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoy, I have a passion for like marketing. So like I'm studying marketing and then actually like outworking it. I'm like, I studied the right things. So I like, I'm like really interested in like learning about photography and that kind of thing. But I think a lot of the challenges was just like how flexible you have to be as a clothing brand manufacturer as well. So even with the first drop, we had like a ton of delays, like with the orders coming in, we had like a lot of problems with printing and all this kind of stuff. So just going back and forth, it probably took us, probably like 2 months to really sort everything out.
Yeah.
But I guess when you start anything new, like even with this podcast, I'm sure you had like heaps of problems at the start. Yeah. You kind of like grow through it and then you put stuff in place so that it doesn't happen again.
I see. Yeah. No, that's sick, man. And then how's it like working with your mom? Is there like ups and downs or anything? Maybe she's listening.
Yeah, hey mom. Nah, like, I mean, working with families like can be difficult. And like me and mum have definitely like, it hasn't been like cruisy the whole way through. Like it still is relatively easy, but it's also a joy though. Like seeing that creative side of my mum, I'm like, oh man, she's cooking. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow. And like, even with the logo or like the theme that I was telling you about, like with her coming up with Exitus, like my mum's a pastor, but I just forget sometimes how prophetic she is and how like and like seeing that applied to the clothing brand, I wouldn't want to do this with anyone else. Like even if I could have the best, honestly, if I could have the best freelance graphic designer in the world, I'd pick my mum every day of the week because we're doing this together, and the anointing that's on her life and my life, I wouldn't trade that for anything. So it is a bit difficult at times, and like, you know, oh mum, we've got to finish this design, and like she's just cooked dinner or whatever, like, you know. So I need to be more understanding as well because I'm so passionate about it. But working with her has been a blessing. It's been really good.
You might have to cook dinner one day, man.
Yeah, I am. But I'm learning now because actually I gotta be careful. I am learning. But just
gotta take that. Just gotta remember that.
100%. I know. I've said it now. So
yeah.
Do
you have any questions about this? Brand and everything?
Yeah, I see that you're planning some new things with Exitus. Some jerseys, hey?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. What made you, like, how's that going, basically? Like,
so good.
Yeah?
It's going. I mean, I love football, so like, it's more of like a passion project for me. I'm like, man, imagine bringing the gospel, clothing, and like my favorite sport in one thing.
Just bring everything in.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, this is awesome. So we started a football club, like, it was related to the church, now it's not, but it's like a Christian football club. And when we started that, they were like, oh, we should like make jerseys. So I guess that was kind of the inspiration. I was like, let's just do it. Like, why not? And I know like now a lot of clothing brands do it anyway. So I'm like, oh, cool. Like there's actually a market for it. So why not have fun? But it's really keen.
Man. Must be having a lot of fun trying to like mock it up, you know, see what do you want in the jersey and this and that. Collar, no collar. You know.
Well, we went to Malaysia. I love your jersey, by the way, too. I was like, I don't know.
Oh, thanks.
It's a jersey, right? Yeah. I was like, oh, that's hard. Yeah,
the V-necks go hard on jerseys sometimes.
Dude, nice. We went to Malaysia though. So when we were in Malaysia, we like I bought like so many football jerseys. So then just to like try it out, but also because I just love football. So it's been fun playing with fabrics and trying to make something unique. So
nice.
We're pretty happy. I'm getting the final design actually sent tomorrow or end of today. I know I was spewing I couldn't wear it on the podcast. But,
you told me.
It's coming real soon. So
sick.
Yeah, pretty keen.
Yeah, we'll be sure to shout you out when that happens and everything for
that's
sure.
Awesome, man.
That's sick, man.
Yeah. Hold on. What's your team?
Who do I go for?
Yeah.
Man City.
Yeah.
Do you actually? I do. Yeah.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
I'm alone in here, man.
Panthers blue. Who do you go for?
I'm a Manchester United fan.
I thought you guys.
Since birth,
you look like a United fan.
You look
what that mean? I ain't winning.
That's why you're slouching so much.
Okay. All right. Let me sit up a little bit for my
play.
Manchester United fans.
Oh man.
Fair enough. So that trip to Malaysia, it was for manufacturers and everything?
No, so it was actually a holiday.
Oh, okay.
It was just family holiday, which happened to be a great time to meet manufacturers. So it was like a double whammy. We actually weren't expecting to make a sample there.
Oh.
So we rocked up through like a mutual contact, and they're like, oh, you should check these guys out. So then we went there, and then we're like, oh, like we'll have a chat with them, we'll get to know them kind of thing. And they're like, literally, they were amazing. They're like, oh, what do you want? Like, what do you want to make? Like, dream big. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I could make like a retro football jersey. Like, these guys aren't going to do that. They're like, cool. I'm like, oh. And then they literally took me to a table and like, show us what designs you have. I'm like, oh, here, show us what fabrics. 5 days later, so within the same trip, I got a sample made.
Wow.
And it was like excellent. And I was like, dude, that's such a God thing. Like, we weren't even planning on doing this.
Yeah.
And so like that kind of kickstarted. But the trip was good. We didn't want it to be like full business focus. So spending time with the family. But it was an amazing trip. Like getting that business side out of it and then just refreshing.
Yeah, of course.
Hanging out with the fam.
Meaningful trip for sure.
Yeah, I love Malaysia.
Oh,
food's the best in the world, bro.
Well, what part of Malaysia do you go back to visit?
KL. So that's where my dad's from.
Yeah, right.
But we all got like so sick, eh?
Oh, really?
Yeah, just from the food, bro. Like the food's like the best. But
yeah, you're not used to it.
Oh, no, we had like some street food.
Oh, yeah.
So, one of the uncles took us out. And when uncle takes you out, you don't say no, bro.
Yeah, it's true. It's
you
true.
just eat it, man.
It's too cheap over there, too.
Yeah. Full meals for like $3.
Yeah.
So good.
Enough. So that's so cool. So you're starting up your business and everything and youth pastoring and everything. So you're doing a lot of like leading, I guess. So how's it feel like, I guess, being so young and being like, was it interim youth pastor and everything? How did that feel?
Yeah, it was, for a season. Hard, to be honest. It was really hard when I first started out. I guess like when you start leadership, you're always going to have like a certain degree of insecurity. You're always going to, am I good enough? That's really common. But I think the hardest thing for me was seeing like some of the leaders that led me and then being put in that position in an interim role as well. So that makes it even trickier because it's like you're only there temporary.
Yeah, you can't.
And you kind of just come in after someone's like hop down. So it was really tricky for me and like getting over that, but just trusting in God. And I had an amazing team. Like a lot of the guys that were leading me were so good at like kind of like coming under and actually supporting me in my leadership.
Yep.
And so I'm like so grateful for that. But yeah, I guess to any young leader, just like stick it through. And if you've been called, trust your oversight. Like if your oversight sees something on you, don't justify it like Moses did with the burning bush, right? I have a stutter. I'm not worthy. Don't justify it, but actually be obedient and just say yes.
Yeah.
So that would just be,
Wow. Yeah, real good.
So how did, like, when that first call came, like, hey, like, was it your dad or like whoever?
No,
like,
it wasn't. It wasn't. I actually said no. So the first time I got asked, I was like, nah, like I don't want to do that. Like that. I had a really bad fear of leadership because I just didn't want it. Like I understood the responsibility. I feel like a lot of people are really keen to be in leadership positions until you're in them. Yeah. And when you actually understand the weight of actually you make decisions and people might not like your decisions and people might get upset at you because of your decisions. Yep. You're like, I had a healthy understanding of what leadership entailed because I've seen my parents in leadership and the like mantle they carry. And so I was pretty shy to push it away. But again, that whole thing of let's not make excuses, let's just be obedient. And so then, I felt really in my spirit, I felt like I was grieving the Holy Spirit when I was saying no. Because I kind of knew that I was called to it, but I was letting fear and anxiety kind of like take control.
Wow. It's good you have that.
Again, vulnerable.
Yeah, dude, it's good you have that, that, I guess, like, that sense of, what's happening when the decisions you're making and everything. That's sick, man. So then, I guess, like, doing it now, like, and everything, what have you kind of, like, learned? Because, like, you're leading people your age, you're leading people, like, that used to be your leaders too. Like, what kind of worked for you? Like, what did you find was, like, easy? What did you find super hard?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing would be to deal with expectation. That was my biggest issue, is I set myself, or I assumed that my leaders above me had this expectation on me. Like, I have to perform like this. So I was like, to be honest, the first 2 weeks, I wasn't sleeping. Like, when I just got the role, because youth would be on a Friday and I'm like, our youth is like at a high standard, right? Like, we've got an amazing youth ministry. So to hold that standard or keep it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to fail in this area. And so dealing with expectation, a healthy expectation, like, I am giving of my best, and that's all that God requires of me. And that's actually all my leadership requires of me, is to give my best, to give it a try. If it doesn't work out, then maybe I wasn't meant for the role, and that's okay. But putting that unhealthy expectation or meeting quotas or KPIs is never going to help. Like, you're always going to stress out and you're never actually going to flow and do well. So I think that was one of my biggest things, and just anxiety, dealing with what you can and leaving the rest to God. I was stressing out about how many people were going to rock up, whether people are going to engage in worship. I'm like, God literally convicted me. He's like, that's none of your business. Like, why are you worrying about who's going to rock up or who's going to encounter me or not? That's up to me. Like, you just do what you do and leave the rest to me. And once I actually was able to separate what I can deal with and what I can't, I was worrying so much less. And I was actually able to become a better leader and engage with my leaders and that kind of thing.
Wow, so
that's
good.
crazy.
No, see, the thing is, I know that just before you guys kind of alluded how old you were. I know people that are watching it kind of familiar with your age, Ethan, but you guys are the same age, yeah?
Yeah.
But you can tell us again how old you are, Levi.
I'm 19. Come on.
You're still 19. This guy's 20 now.
Yeah, I'm 20 now.
He's the 20s club.
Oh, man. Yeah,
I'm no longer the youngest sitting here, man.
What? I thought we were the same age.
No, we were until...
When's your birthday?
Until you
August.
August.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, so you're turning...
you're
I'm
turning 20 in May. So you're like a year older than me.
I'm technically a year. Yes.
Me, man. I thought we were the same.
No, same year group, so it's like assumed.
Okay, I know how that goes. Yeah.
So you were the oldest, hey?
Pardon?
Were you the oldest in the year group?
No, you're technically like the younger side, because you're 2004, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
Yeah. So you're the younger of the year group. The year group we're in is like 2003.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I like being the youngest though. I'll graduate uni young and
yeah. That's good, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Fair enough.
That's awesome. 19 years old and you already got all that wisdom. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. No, seriously. Not many people think that way. Yeah, like 19 years old, when I was 19, I wasn't thinking like that. I was like, yeah, just whatever. It's fun.
It was a lot of slapping from mentors.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can't take ownership for that. And I think that is kind of one of the key areas actually in terms of leadership is like coming under leaders, right? So if you want to be a good leader, come under good leadership, come under authority. The best leaders are the ones that come under authority. So 100%.
So I guess like expand on that. What does that mean to like come under authority, and why do you think it's so important for like young leaders coming in, even old leaders like that's still been there for ages?
Yeah, well, I think you can always learn something, right? And I think the problem, and I shouldn't say the problem because I'm part of this generation. I'm part of that problem. But I think a lot of the time we're always keen to teach others. We're always keen to lead or whatnot, but we're not keen to sit under and become students. And I think even in the business world, you see it like online e-commerce gurus and mentors, like they want to teach you everything and everyone like wants to become their own consultant, but no one's willing to just sit under and learn. And I think that's really important. Before you lead, you have to be led. You actually have to come under leadership. So I think it's so important. And even with like advice and growing, I think a lot of the things that I've learnt have not actually come from my own revelation, but the revelation that's been revealed to me by my mentors. And so even that worrying thing that I was talking about, like I was worrying about what I can and can't control. That was because like my dad actually sat me down and helped me walk through that. He's like, okay, put this. Why are you worrying about these things? And then when you actually like receive that revelation from a mentor, then you can pass it on, right? So then when I pass it on, you guys are like, oh, that's so wise. Like, but it's actually not. I'm just passing it through, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And so then, coming under mentorship has probably been the best thing ever in terms of my development and growth.
Yeah.
Wow, wise and humble.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Nah. Oh my God.
That's good, man. No, it's really
Making
good.
me blush. I'm brown. You can't see it.
That's it.
Yeah, but I think, 100% agree. Like, I think me and Jack can also say, like, our lives is also, like, revolved around mentorship as well, man.
100%.
It's, like, seriously, I think for young leaders, it's definitely something they have to learn. Because, like, sometimes we can, even for me, when I first started leading, I'm, like, so passionate. I'm on fire. I want to do everything. But when we're told like no, or when we're told to like sit and just wait and like handle the things you that you can at the moment, then I think that's when I really had to like, okay, humble myself a little bit. I can't change the person straight away. You know what I mean? I have to actually like kind of learn the process to things and everything. Yeah. So like 100% agree. But yeah, like I guess like how did you find like mentors? Because like some people find it really hard. They're like, I need to find the right one. I need to do this and that and everything. Like, how did you find that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually talked to a lot of people that have struggled with that because I think when I've had friends come to me for advice, the first thing I say is I'm not the right person. So like if someone wants to come to me for relationship advice, I'm like, bro, that's cool. Like I can give you my opinion, but I wouldn't get my advice because I'm single. So I'm not trying to like coach you through a season I haven't been through or like, I don't see the wisdom in that. But when I've asked them, I'm like, oh, so like, do you have anyone in your life that you could go to that is maybe married or has gone through that relationship? And so many of the times they say, oh, I can't, like I don't have anyone in my sphere. And so I've been fortunate enough to have pastors at my church who I guess like made time and saw value in investing in the young adults, like being a part of the young adult community. And so there's almost like they're not reachable ever. Like I can literally call my young adults pastor right now and he would pick up, probably not, he's like working, but like, you know what I mean? With reason. And so I guess it's harder, but for a young adult, if you don't have that, you have to be intentional about going out and then investing in them. So maybe like, you know, inviting them out for a coffee and then you paying for the coffee, or because it seems a bit like, oh, why am I reaching out? But there's so much value in having that mentor. So I guess like, you just have to put some effort in finding one. But be really discerning about who you choose to be your mentor as well. And I think once you do choose a mentor and you're at peace, don't be changing mentors. Because so many times I know people who have mentors and then the moment a mentor mentors them on something they disagree or they don't want to do, they just flip and find a new mentor. And oh no, I was being discipled by him, but now I'm being discipled by this guy. And it's like, dude, like if you're going to come under authority, come under authority. So
it goes back to like being that student and everything. Totally agree. Anything, Joe?
I mean, there's no point picking a mentor to tell you things that you want to hear, you know. Sometimes they're meant to be there to tell you the hard stuff.
That's
that
true.
will turn you around, you know. I totally agree with that. Really good. Mentorship is a thing. Would you mentor anyone?
Like if it was a youth?
Yes.
Or like someone younger than me? Or like someone that... So like, I guess as a youth leader, right, I have to, like, not have to, I get to, but that's like my position and that's my role. And I kind of understand, like I said, there are seasons that I have gone through and God's pulled me through that I see as valuable and I can help others. But when it comes to people like my age, I still would give advice and I'll be there for them. But if it's a season that I haven't gone through, I just don't think it's wise for me to then try coach them through that.
It's true.
And so I feel like we're so keen to like, oh, here's my 2 cents, here's my opinion. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not the best person to ask for that. I would probably recommend someone else.
Right. Yeah. So, I think, Wait,
no, I was just going to follow up because I know that you're the youth director of Singleton campus. So in a way, you do mentor a lot of younger youths and stuff like that as a whole general thing. But do you do like more like one-on-ones, like journey life with them?
Also, that starts next week. So I've only just been placed in that role. So I was interim for Bibrelate. And then this year they're launching Singleton Youth. So we've only got 8 kids, but we haven't even started yet technically. So we launched on the 3rd. But I guess, with the one-on-ones, it is with leaders at the moment. So getting to know my leaders, it's a whole new campus. So Singleton's like near Mandurah. So I moved church campus not knowing anyone almost. Like I knew the campus pastors and I knew like a few of the core team. But other than that, like all my friends, all of that have kind of left behind at Bibrelate. And so I'm starting afresh and getting to know my leaders one-on-one is really important because who you pioneer something with is so important. Like there's a need, but you don't ever want to be so desperate that you kind of just pick and choose anyone 100%. Kind of thing. It's really important. So
Very good.
No, that's fire. And why do you think? I guess like why do you think you need to have like, I guess like know your team, like why do you, I feel like youth leaders like sometimes like miss out on that, like to connect with their other leaders and everything, and even like maybe pastors should as well. Why do you think that's like so important when you're heading into ministry? Yeah,
because I think like youth leadership should be a joy. Like I think it should be really fun. Like we're actually like investing into the next generation, and so when there's like this divide and like it's tiresome sometimes, like it does require you to be faithful and to serve and to give of your time. But when you can, as a leader, make that more enjoyable and like have relationship and fellowship doing it, it just makes it so much fun. And if the team's happy and the team is like bonding well, then your youth ministry will be healthy. Your team's healthy, your youth ministry will be healthy. Like no doubt in my mind at all.
That's so good. Yeah, but I think more on like young adults, I guess I would tap into that as well. I guess like we touched about how you talked about how like older people were kind of like more intentional with young adults and everything. I guess like from your view, you know, going into youth and everything, why is it so important to invest in like the younger generation, I guess? Well, us sometimes, or like even for us learning that and like putting more time into like I guess youth as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess I wouldn't be here if I hadn't been invested into, because I think especially during that age, right? So you either have 2 demographics. You either have kids who have never been in church that are in the high schools, never heard the gospel. And so going and doing like school ministry is what we've done. And we've seen within like 6 months, 33 kids from high school who'd never been to church come into our youth ministry. We've seen like 17 salvations. A bunch of them come to camp, have their lives and families completely transformed. So you have the unlost there, right? And so if you don't have a heart for them, then like, ask God to give you one like pretty quick,
for sure.
because you want to reach the lost. But then also you have the church kids who've grown up and they've always been under their parents' authority, right? And so then when you become a high school student, when you're a teenager, you now are given the opportunity to kind of come out of your parents' faith, your parents' understanding of God, and to decide for yourself, right? And so journey, we see it in year 12s like a lot when you're 18, clubbing and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have a strong youth or church presence or young adult role models to help disciple you through that, you will lose so many because it's the one period you miss out on the unchurched, and you actually, in a way, miss out on the church who are now making that decision for themselves and have no support. And the world's throwing everything at them, right? Like their friends, it seems so much fun. If the church isn't throwing everything it has back at them, then they're just getting yanked on the other side pretty much. So it's so important. Youth ministry is so important.
100% agree. And like what have you done? Because like I know when we called up, you talked about how you go into schools and everything. Like, why do you find that important? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do you go into schools? Because some like some people just like stay, you know what I mean? Like they stay in their own like four walls of church and everything, you know what I mean? Don't explore any further. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said about praying for, I think there's a prayer like break my heart for what breaks yours. Like if you don't see those people, like they're loved, right? They're chosen, they're God's people as well. So if you don't see that and you're like, oh, your heart doesn't break for them, then I think that's one thing God's really done in my life is like going into those high schools and seeing these kids so broken but so beautiful and so disregarded. We're in a really low socioeconomic school at the moment, and a lot of them do feel disregarded or not seen. And like, I think it's literally been God on my life and our team's lives. Like when we see them, we just like, we love them so much and we just see the best in them. And so after my first week, I was like hooked. I was like, nah, like this is so amazing. And even if they weren't coming to youth, we've had 33 come to youth, but I would say there's about 100. I literally have one guy texting me now. It's so funny about like Exitus. He's never come to church, but he's like, bro, I love your brand. Like, I'd love to like ride scooters for your brand or something like that. I'm like, dude, like I love it. Like the fact that they feel comfortable to reach out to me and still have that connection. That's worth it because I actually know a lot of these guys don't have like supportive families or that kind of thing. So if I can be there for them and just show Christ in that way, it's never actually really been about building the youth ministry. It's been literally just about like meeting these kids and loving on them just as it's Jesus
first
would.
Mission, just
so I love school ministries and being there consistently. I know a few other youth ministries do it differently. Sometimes they might go in and do events and stuff, but we've found that going into one high school week in, week out, we build relationship with the teachers, we build relationship with the students. And so like we're actually there to like serve them and it's been amazing. Such an honor.
You don't even talk about Christ with them as a start, right? Like you just want to build like just
we had this. It was a bit tricky because like obviously I'm there technically for youth, like that's my role is youth and school outreach ministry. But so for the first term I was like, I told the team, I was like, I don't want you to hand out a flyer, I don't want you to talk about youth, I actually just want you guys to serve the kids. So we actually saw within the first term, no kids come to youth. So everyone's like, what? Like there's no fruit. I'm like, no, just wait. We actually just serve them. And then the teachers within the second term were like pushing us to promote youth. They're like, no, what you guys do is so amazing. You guys are so amazing. Like, please like invite kids to your program. And then within that last term, we saw 33 kids. Because we built that relationship and they knew in a way that we weren't just there to get them to church. We weren't just rocking up, hey bro, how you doing? You should come on a Friday night. Come on. We're like, hey bro, how's your week been?
Exactly.
Like, just talking to them and then I'll see you next week. Really? You'll be here next week? Yeah, I'll be here next week. And for these kids, some of them have never had people consistently in their life. So just being consistent. By the time we reach the second term, they're like, oh my gosh, like we've built that rapport and trust. They're like, can we hang out with you more? I'm like, sure, come on a Friday. We can hang out. And so now they're coming to church. Some of them are walking to church. I'm not even kidding. Lakelands is like, the school we're in is like 4 minutes away from our church. Some of them are like walking to church on a Sunday night. I'm like, dude, just text me. Like, we'll get you rides. But I'm like, it's wild because they're just like, they love it. They love the community. They love the fellowship.
No, for sure.
So I'm like, oh, it's so rewarding. Hey, it's so cool.
That's so good.
That's
wow.
awesome.
That's amazing. Awesome. No, seriously, I think I love your process on that. Honestly, I think more people should adopt that. Just opening relationship, like showing care, not like preaching, like straight up preaching, like, hey, like you should come to church if you have any issues in life and everything, but being like, hey, like I actually care for you, like showing that by example. I think that's really like valued, and especially for youth, where everything's like they can like I guess be persuaded by things on the media and everything. But 100% agree. It's amazing what you're doing. Like God bless it. Cool. Oh my gosh.
Leaving it this year though, technically for Singleton, so we'll try start it up. It's not finishing, so it's handed over, and the team we have is exceptional. They all have the same heart. They're all really keen and key.
Pass torch on 100%. Wow, that's amazing.
But so that's probably the saddest thing about starting is just leaving that high school. But I'll try visit every now and then.
That's so good. Yeah. Was there? I guess like now we kind of open the floor to you. Is there anything you kind of want to touch on, or like you want to talk about?
I guess I want to talk about you guys as well.
I mean, ask you anything. This is kind of interesting.
I mean, as a fellow creative as well, and kind of going about starting, what were some of the challenges that you guys face? Like, I don't know if you guys have covered it in other topics, but like starting out, or like I guess within yourselves, was there like a lot of insecurity? I know I was talking about starting something and being insecure at the start or whatever, but is there anything that comes to mind that you're like, man, that was tough?
I guess. I mean, do you have anything?
Well, I mean, for me, I'll go first. You can have a think.
Go ahead.
I think it was just kind of finding out our niche. Like, I know we started out as like a Christian kind of thing, but we didn't want to be outspokenly Christian at the start. So we were very, we just touched on little topics here and there. We wouldn't really talk about God that much. We would talk about things like fashion and music. And I mean, that was all fun and games at the start, but then we realized that this is not sustainable. Like, we need to really, find our identity in what we want to be. And so, I mean, God's like, well, hello, like, didn't you start this for me?
Come on.
Oh, true. Yeah. And so then when we started pressing and leaning into that, then that's when the fruits came.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
For sure.
But it was a while till that point, pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was actually a pretty, like, kind of long struggle for us to kind of battle, like, do we want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Talk about this? Yeah. Like, are we even reaching people? Things like that. Like, it was a lot of, like, learning, like, self-learning as well, because, we don't all study degrees in marketing and stuff like that. So it's really just trying to copy what other people are doing and like trying to like get advice from other podcasts that are doing well. And so it was a struggle to grow. The initial growth spurt was really hard, but now it's like, it's good. Like, God's good. And so,
it's true. Like, we've had connections with a lot of people. We've met so many people, like Johnny Chang and everything. That was like really.
We're
like
never gonna let that one go.
I'm never gonna let that one go. I'm like,
seriously,
should have invited me in the room. I'll just sit in the chair.
I was behind the camera too. I was like, it's getting hot in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, but I totally agree. Like, there was a long period of time where we weren't really sure, and I was kind of like the media guy, so I was kind of letting the big dogs do everything. Let them like choose and everything. So I was kind of unsure as well. I guess like choosing like what type of vibe we're going for, especially with the marketing and everything. Like, I was also a lot of a perfectionist, so I agree with you in the sense that I was very insecure about the work I put out, like even just the smallest stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jared knows it. Like, he's just like, just post it, just put it out, man. And I dude, it took me like a year to like learn that. Like, just putting it out is like even better. You know what I mean? Just like not overthinking it and not like. Yeah, just not overthinking it and just like putting it out because people want it.
Wow, that's good advice.
Like, people really want it, man. Like, and I think we realized that as well. Like, even when I think about our niche, it's like why didn't we like choose like the Christian path? Why didn't we choose God first in this? You know what I mean? And that was, I guess, because maybe we wanted to hit the younger audiences or like the people who weren't technically reached. But I think it was like everyone can talk about fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone can talk about like comedy or whatever and everything, but it's like like we felt like, I guess, passionate about God, so why didn't we just talk about that? And then we actually like, I guess, we also aim to cover about like the taboo topics about church and everything, so we can also like tear down stereotypes about like what people have about church, and also just like talk about things that church people, like, we've grown up in, like, I guess, like in a Christian family. You know what I mean? Some of us struggle as well in like when we grew up as a Christian family. So it's like talking about that, you know what I mean? Like, there's struggle in that. There's expectation and everything. So I guess when we got that down, I feel like everything started to work as well. Yeah. Started like praying before podcasts and like simple stuff like that. That just made it more meaningful.
The process that we have now, it's pretty, like, we can just set it up and we can get going. But we used to be here for like hours. Dude. Because we would not like the take that we just did, and we would just redo it. And then the conversations would get so dry. Yeah. Because we've been there already. And like, they act like, I didn't know that. Right? It was hard. It was actually hard. Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah. But that's so good. At least you came to that realization, right? And I think the possible struggle that we might have, I'm not prophesying this over our business, but very easy to get like lost track, right? So we're like, okay, we're set, we're a Christian business, right? But not just for a marketing. We're not there to just promote, we're Christian because it's a niche market. But we want to actually be practical in how we outwork that. But very easily it can get skewed. Like once you start seeing money come in, like, and I've got to work this out, and we need to scale, and we need to increase marketing, and we might need to outsource it. And when you start, because it is a business as well, when you start letting that consume you, it can be very easy to lose sight of what was like your original core and foundation.
Absolutely.
So I think that was another reason why we started it, was because not to shame other brands, but there's a lot of Christian brands out there that now have gotten to that size where they can scale and all that.
Yeah.
And I can't see the actual impact that they're making to advance his kingdom or to actually promote Christ.
Yeah.
Sure, they might put Jesus in like a nice embroidered font, or sure they might, slap a logo on or whatever. But I'm like, I want Exitus to be more than that, if anything. Like, I don't want it to just be a Christian clothing brand, but I want it to so point to Jesus that you can't deny more than just what's said, but how we operate as a business.
No,
so I love how you guys are talking about how it's like, we were trying different stuff, but we actually came to the realization that we need that foundation.
Yeah, seriously.
Core.
I think it's just so much more purpose in it too. Like, we don't even just get like, oh wow, the views are great. Oh wow, like having a look, like follow counts are great. Oh, maybe if the money came in, it's great. You know what I mean? It's great just doing this, like meeting people, having this conversation. Having these conversations. Also fulfilling enough. You know what I mean? Like fulfilling enough. Like
that's so cool. Yeah.
Wherever we go, kind of thing. Yeah. And I feel like that's the joy in being a creative as a Christian. You know what I mean? Either way, I'm enjoying it. Either way, like journeying with God. Either way, like designer made, doesn't matter if I think it's good or not. I'm doing it because God called me to do it and everything. I feel like, like the creative ministry in like in the Christian sense is all everyone thinks like, wow, like oh, it's all like lights and everything. But I think there's like deeper meaning to that.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like people miss out. Like God actually calls us to be artists at times. You know what I mean? He's the master artist himself. You know what I mean? So like. We should tap into that sometimes. Yeah. But but other than that, I think,
Well, I have one last question, actually, if you don't have any.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking, because you had pretty much grown up in a Christian household, second gen, you know how it goes, right? Second, third?
No, second gen. Second gen? So my dad, it depends. Like, it's a bit complex. My dad's second gen. And
Okay.
Okay, got it.
To the question is, because you've been surrounded by church, you've known ministry all your life in a sense. Do you ever feel like you're missing out on other things? You know what I mean?
Good question. Not anymore. Used to a lot in youth ministry. And why I think youth ministry is so important is like during that 16, 17, 18-year-old phase. Clubbing, drinking, all of that looks awesome. Like, I'll just be real, right? It looks super tempting, super good. And I'm super extroverted as well. So like parties, and for me, girls are always a struggle as well. So like, that was like really tempting, that party scene. I'm like, God, that looks amazing. And so wrestling with that was really frustrating. And actually having parents in that time to be wise enough not to let me go to certain parties, even though we used to fight over it a lot. I now look back at it, I'm like, he's going to be saying this. He's like, I told you. But looking back at it, if he'd let me go, I would have made some really silly decisions, picked up some pretty bad baggage. But now, I guess, as you mature, I do not crave or miss out on any of that at all, I swear. Like, not even the littlest bit, because I meet, and I'm still very close with a lot of non-Christians at uni. And so they tell me about their weekend plans, about how they went clubbing on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and they got, so drunk that they can't remember anything, and they made out with some random guy and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, like, it seems so empty. And if anything, that's built my faith so much more. Because I look at my weekend and I'm like, oh my gosh, my weekend was amazing. I was at church. At church, that'd be so boring. I'm like, nah, it was amazing. Like, it was so good. And so, if anything, I think that comparison now has built my faith even more and made me realize, like, walking a life with Jesus is the best way to live your life. It's amazing.
Amen.
Come on.
Oh, that was fire. That's good. That's a good way to end.
But I guess we'll end it there. Pretty much. Thank you for having us on,
Thank
man.
you for having me. I
all
appreciate
the credits, man. I mean, this is my first time hosting, so I'm like,
well done.
You did a good job, bro.
Levi's first podcast.
Levi's first podcast.
Ethan's first time leading the podcast. Wow, guys.
Killed
first
it,
time.
man.
Many firsts.
Like, we'll be sure to link your, like, look out for his new drops and everything. We'll be supporting him and everying, but local support.
See you again as well on the show.
No, for sure.
I've actually loved this. Yeah. Keep it on that.
But you gotta censor that part, man. Come on.
Oh yeah,
bro.
I'm sorry.
But we like to say, stay fresh. At the end of the episode, we'll point the camera and say, stay fresh.
Stay fresh.
Stay fresh, y'all.
Stay fresh.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.
Peace.